But welcome to the Mental Margarita Show.
Yo, man.
And I'm telling you, this is just phenomenal. It's unbelievable. I mean, this is crazy. I got two amazing songwriters reuniting. Michael Goods, Shari Verona. Am I saying that right, Shari?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an absolute pleasure. How you guys doing?
Real good, man. Thanks for having us on.
Oh, man, it's an absolute pleasure.
We're doing this. Michael, lift your face. I haven't seen you in 34 years, and now you're
I know, right?
There he goes. He's
yeah.
Oh, you look great.
So do you. Thanks for everything, you sweetheart. Thanks for looking. Took 30 years, but I was shocked when my guy, he was like, "Yo, young lady's looking for you." I'm like, I've been just toured with him for like 20 years.
Wow.
So, cool.
That's crazy. And you know what? That's a good segue because both of you guys recorded together in the 80s. You lost touch, reunited after 34 years. Let's take it back. How do you guys first meet?
That's a good one, man, because how do we meet, Shari?
It's always two versions to every story. What I remember, I think a New York publisher maybe put us in touch.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. It was a great union, and I so appreciated the professionalism because at that time I if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't know my neck from a hole in the ground. But
wow.
Well, we were all learning. That's why I think this podcast is important. For co-writers, to squash any beefs.
Right.
It's about making money. It's not about egos. And it's once you lose touch with someone, us 34 years, think of the opportunities we could have had all that time. We didn't.
Oh my God. I tell you, Sly, it's amazing to get a phone call 34 years later from a musician that you're working with right now and says, "Hey, this person reached out to me online, said she'd be looking for you for 30 years. So I was like, wow, what?
We have to do a shout out to David who hooked us up. I wrote a stranger.
Yeah,
an article came up online. Aaron Neville, it raves about his keyboard player, Michael Goods. And I'm like, I found him.
You found him. Michael Goods. I mean, working with Aaron Neville. And I mean, that's just what an amazing opportunity for you to be part of.
Yeah, man. It was serious school for like 20 years. He would be like, let's do this and let's do this and let's do that. I'd be like, man, I don't know how to do that. And he says, well, don't worry, you'll figure it out.
Wow.
And now they talk every day still.
That is something else. Now, let me ask you guys this, because you mentioned something, Shari, okay, about the importance of co-writers staying in contact. Let's go a little bit more into that. Why is that so important?
Hey, let me just interject for 1 second. Let me tell you something. I had no idea the intricate situations that can happen for you if you pay attention and keep all your vitals, your name, your address, all your information in circulation, because there are not many people like Shari. But I'll tell you that the more she can bring this to life, I would hope that people would learn from it and actually make it happen, because the writers looking out for each other is such a big deal. It should be more of that.
Yeah.
I was tired of landing deals back in the 80s and 90s. I would land left and right. Some of them worked out, some of them didn't. And, you know, I'm like, damn, what is Tim's last name? Where do I? And there was one situation, I had a big contract. I had to hire a damn detective because I had a contract that I couldn't sign. I didn't have power of attorney with his signature, but I landed the deal, and my
Wow.
sweat and hard, you know, whatever it took to land that, not easy.
Right.
And you land it, you get the contract, and now I got to go find Tim. So the detective said, well, there's good news and bad news. The good news, I found him, but he's on a cruise in the Mediterranean until November.
Jeez.
Wow, that's so dope.
Over the decades, I haven't spoken to Michael. I've had a lot of opportunities to do many different things with our music. And, you know, there's some people shady, they would just do it and not worry about it. I see my own stuff out there. I know there's singers, you know who you are, selling my songs online on your little albums, you know, getting your sound exchange royalties, or I don't know, probably gave it to iTunes or whatever. So for every $1.99, whatever you're making $1 and pocketing it, that's all, you know, cool. But the real way is to be upfront, divvy it up, because you don't know what the other person can have that's even bigger than what you're doing.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'll say that. Let me check with it. It's great if you do the right thing, because you never know, that other writer can help you.
That's right.
You don't have to do the dollar dance. You know what I mean?
And I say it's better from the beginning. You write a song, people email it to each other. Our song, final mix. You're starting the whole thing wrong. Title the entire song correctly. Not song 3, final mix. What starts bad is going to end bad.
That's right.
Title it, put your writers, all your writers' names on there.
Listen, you writers.
Everybody sign up for a performing rights organization. If you're referred to CSAC, great, become a CSAC affiliate writer. At least in the event of someone not finding you, you can always use that as a last resort. Give them your middle names, because I'm going to surprise Michael right now and tell him that after 15, 20 years, I just did the deal.
Wow.
So you got 4 or 5 songs out on various TV shows.
Oh!
It's a good surprise for him.
Oh my God.
And
come on, Michael, this is great.
Can you show a close up? Can you show a close up of his face or no?
It's outrageous.
Wow, man.
I'm speechless, baffled.
The opportunities are so hard to come by that once you get an opportunity, you want to cross all your T's and dot your I's and not let that chance escape you. You may also want to say, is there one designated person who could make decisions on behalf of everybody in the event? A lot of people do records today, and then like Michael's partner kind of dropped out, and I don't blame him. They put out, you know, they make great music and they sit on it for 5 or 6 years. And then someone says, let me put this old album out. It cost us time and money. Let me put it out. You know, it was never put out originally, but you know, now's the time. Let's say you don't have any agreements. You don't have none of your writers' information, or maybe you're a band of 5 guys, you only have 3 people's information.
Right.
You know, you want to be able to sleep at night with a good conscience, do the right thing, and release that album for downloads, for sale, to sell at concerts, whatever, without any legal ramifications.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I thank you for informing the audience, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that watch this show that are songwriters. So that's really valuable information that you gave us. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate you guys.
Thanks so much, man.
The Margarita Show.
Thank you
Thank
for
you so
having
much.
us,
Really
and thank you
appreciate
for
it.
this beautiful reunion.
Welcome to the Mental Margarita Show. I have Tasha Featherstone with us, a serial entrepreneur. We're glad to have you. So you were raised in Pasadena, California. You're the CEO of STFU Designs. You're also a self-published author, and you're also a rapper as well, and goes by the name of Cutie. And we're actually going to be able to present some of your music on the episode, so our audience is going to get a chance to listen in just a little bit. They're going to be able to hear some of your work and see your designs, and be able to get a little bit more of a picture of who you are. So we're really excited to have you. First, tell us a little bit about your background. You know, growing up in Southern California, and then ending up in design. You also dance. You also teach theater. You just do it all. So how did it start? How did it start first off?
Well, dancing started 5th grade. I've been dancing on dance teams and things like that. I danced throughout college. Hip hop growing up. In college, it was modern, jazz, and I did a semester of ballet. So that's kind of like, dance has always been a part of my life. I love dancing. It's a great way to express yourself, great way to be creative, which comes into the brand because it's about expressing yourself and being creative. Doing what makes you happy, what you're passionate about, and telling all the naysayers to shut the F up. So from, loving music, loving dance, I have a family that loves music and loves singing and dancing, and a very musical inclined family. So there, it kind of like, I was wanting to get more back into dancing as well and expressing myself that way. So I ended up teaching high school dance and theater.
That's wonderful. And when in school, that's when we're the most shaped, and it kind of forms our ideas about a lot of things. So that's such a pivotal age and time when students aren't sure what they want to do, or maybe they need that outlet to help them through something just to get through life.
Yeah.
So, being able to be in that position and inspire and teach and be able to share that joy and passion that you have for it and watch it blossom in others and your students. So that's really exciting. And we have something else we're celebrating. So your designs were featured recently in New York Fashion Week, as well as Glamour Magazine and Elle Magazine. So how did that come about? Which happened first?
So the New York Fashion Week happened first. We worked with the producers Flying Solo. So it was about emerging ones to watch, so it's called. So it was the brands to watch that are up and coming, big names. It was an international show, so it was brands from the US and brands from other countries as well. I got to partner with a jewelry designer from Paris in Condom, and I got to partner with a waist bead designer in Atlanta, modern nature. That's what it is. My bad. So that collaboration, Getty Images came to New York Fashion Week to take our photos, and then from there, those pictures from New York Fashion Week, which ended up featured in Elle Magazine and Glamour Magazine.
Oh, that's wonderful! Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're proud of you, and that's a wonderful accomplishment. And now your fashion line, you call it Edgy Urban Designs. They're very eye-catching. They definitely draw attention. There's all kinds of messages, and that they're fun and colorful. And you have over 500 items on your website for clothing options for men and women, and from backpacks, accessories, hats, shoes. It's like a one-stop shop. So pretty much you can dress yourself from head to toe with items from your site. Your music, you're looking at streamlining that along and kind of breaking into that a little bit more along with your fashion line later on. You got a couple singles. You had one, Go Ahead, and Sophistiragets. That's such a catchy name. And the song is catchy too. So I'm trying to decide we should give them a little sample of both, because they're just, it's a expression of you and fun. But where did that name come from? Any special story behind that?
So the word sophisticated I had seen before. It was like a Facebook meme or something, and it was telling about a woman who's sophisticated, has all these qualities, but can also, be ratchet and has all these qualities. And I was like, that's like, I don't fit in one box. I'm a very, composed business worker. I can sit in a boardroom and hold a conversation and get my point across and communicate very well. But I can also, go dance and have fun and let loose and be, I'm not a party girl, so I'm very shy, but, I know how to have fun and let loose as well. So it was kind of like, I'm not ratchet and I'm not all the way sophisticated. So if we put them together.
Have a blend, right? Fun. That's really fun. So we're also excited to have you part of a team. This is, we can't spill it all yet. We can't let the cat out of the bag yet. But the Mental Margarita Show is working on producing a film, which you are going to be part of as one of our creators from the artist standpoint. We're going to be featuring, some of your designs in our film on the show and at some other events and things. And we're excited to have you as part of the team. So thank you so much for being on the show. We're excited to share your art, share your music. And what's the best way if people want to follow you and keep track of what you're doing and your accomplishments? What's the best way for them to reach you?
For STFU on every social site, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, it's all at STFU Designs. The website is also STFU Designs. If you want to follow me personally, I really only have a Facebook, that's Tasha Featherstone. My music pages are at Miss MRS .cutie, QUE. This is actually _T because you can't use apostrophes on Instagram. But yeah, either at Miss Cutie or at STFU Designs. And if you want to get real personal, then Facebook, Tasha Featherstone.
All right, wonderful. Well, we're looking forward to working with you more, and we're gonna be celebrating all of this in Vegas real soon. And we're so excited to have you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the work you do as a teacher and just as an artist and what you contribute to the world. It makes it a better place. So we're glad. Thank you for being part of our world here at Mental Margarita Show too.
Thank you. Thank you for wanting me a part of it. I'm excited to be a part. I can't wait.
Wonderful. Well, we're so glad to have you. Can't wait to hear what's coming next. And there'll be more. Stay tuned, folks.
Normally at home on my grind. Good girl making money, state minding mine. But today I wanna pop it round and round slow wine. Good girl getting ratchet in the club one time. Shy girl, but a freak tonight. Body moving too good, make sure you hold on tight. I was praying for world peace last night, but now I wanna get naked, let this brown skin shine. Step back, watch me do my dance. Don't worry, I'll get back to my goals and plans. Take a break, pop that cake, just do your dance. Only the flow can see your hands. So if the ratchets in the club one time, pussy popping in the club one time. Or grab my girls, hit the floor one time. Round and round, showing off what's.
And welcome to the Mental Margarita Show.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you. So, Harlem, huh?
Yeah, Harlem raised, born. Like, yeah, I'm honestly, Harlem is really my life. It's really my life. I try to separate so many times. Well, my parents try to, detach me from Harlem so many times. It's just crazy, but I always find my way back home. Like, and essentially, for some reason, home always felt like it was Harlem. Like, for me. Even no matter where I went, it could have been Indiana, it could have been Africa, it could have been Nevada, it could have been anywhere, literally. But anytime I entered this atmosphere, it's just like the whole world, like I felt that ease for some reason. Even like that culture shock that like I felt at school. It was like I never understood what it meant till I got to school. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like actually understanding what it means to be like in a space that is completely like I would say out of your norm, out of your niche, and something like that is just only what like higher learning could really, you know what I'm saying? It will offer you. You know what I'm saying? That's that type of learning, that type of experience that you can't undervalue. You know what I'm saying? You got to really cherish, because it's what you make of it at the end of the day, and what you do is just ultimately just going to determine how you know your result. You know, at the end of the journey, at the end of those 4 years. You know.
I feel you on that. So Harlem is the heart and soul.
Heart and soul.
Let's let the audience know. So you're an artist.
Mm-hmm.
You do music, and you're acting, and you're modeling. I mean, just all across the board.
Yes.
Let's deal with each one in particular. So for being an artist, is that something that you've been doing for a long time, or what?
Yeah, actually, it's been an outlet. Like, it's been one of those therapeutic outlets that I had since I was a kid. I always used to get into, you know, little altercations when I was younger, get bullied. And for some reason, like, my counselors just figured out that, like, I had a way of, like, just listening, but with a pencil in my hand. Like, it's weird. Like, it was kind of like abstract. Like, it's some weird kinesthetic. I could literally write notes, listen, pay attention to the teacher, and just be really tuned into my drawing on my notes the whole time. But it's like I can really pay attention at the same time simultaneously. It's weird. I was doing this in college, and I think it's just part of my mechanisms to like kind of like I guess anxiety, because I have a lot of that too, you know. And I battle that. I haven't had therapy too much, you know what I'm saying, but I've been told to you know, give it a try. But I use music and modeling and acting as my forms of therapy, so that way, and in drawing. So ever since I was little.
So that's your mental margaritas right there.
Facts. Facts. Yes, sir.
I had to. Sorry, look. I had to. Sorry.
Like, you good. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That's really what it was for me. Because honestly, I didn't have any other way to, like, you know, take on dough didn't last too long. And I wasn't really much of like I'm more of a peaceful, I would say, like the peaceful version of what Malcolm X would have been. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I ain't gonna lie, I am somebody that advocates for, you know, action, but I'm not one that advocate for violence. That's another thing. But it's like, part of me is like humane, and the human part of me gotta acknowledge emotion, anger, and part of that is healing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't bottle that and expect somebody to really navigate their way through, you know, their struggles and their traumas. That's not gonna happen. You gotta at least allow them to experience some type of relief, which sometimes is gonna be just them yelling. Sometimes it's just gonna be them just frantically just moving back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Looking kind of like they're like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not really there, but it's just their way of coping. You know what I'm saying? It's like how a person with ADHD would facilitate themselves, or even with schizophrenia, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, not everybody is capable of getting diagnosed, and nor do people want to get diagnosed with these type of behaviors, you feel me? So, or acknowledge them. So sometimes it's just easier to just let people cope the way they can cope, so that way they can just get through, you know? But
and now I know musically you've done some things. Painkillers, Never Again, Don't Cry. What does those songs mean to you?
Okay, so these songs essentially are like my I would say like precursors to my musical career. At first, I just really wanted to just drop those songs just to get a gauge of what my audiences would essentially like to hear more from me. Like, because in reality, I've been making music since 2016, but I haven't really dropped music since like recently and in college, because like going back and forth financially, being like by yourself as an independent, it's not really as easy as it may look. And it's without a team, believe it or not, your moves are not going to be as impactful as you want it to be. And I feel like the best way to make sure that you maximize yourself as an artist, as an independent artist with limited resources, the best way is to really focus your energy on balancing a work job and also catering to your career, which essentially is going to mean you're going to have to put overtime, which is just the 10,000 hour rule essentially. And you're just going to have to put in more time than you put in into your 9 to 5 after your hours of 9 to 5 into your career. And that means you just got to go 100% every day. And that's literally what I try to do. Like today, I got a brother that signed to Republic, and we created a group called Good Kids.
Nice.
Good, you feel me? And it's essentially, it's supposed to bring the irony to life. It's supposed to create that question. Nobody who's good will say they're good. You know what I'm saying? The way I was raised, if you're good, you don't have to say you're good. You know what I'm saying? That's what my father told me. You just act on it. Feel me? But I felt like that name was so powerful in a sense, because I feel like people these days judge books by cover so hard. Like lately, I feel like I understand how Basquiat felt like when he was in the art world and being undermined by so much, art critics and being looked at as a black sheep just because of his appearances. But then the thought process, the creation, the now the wave that he brought, it was just different. Like you couldn't even see it coming. And this is the exact reason why I always feel like nothing is new under the sun. Like you just got to keep re-emitting those same values and try to remember that you're just like there's people out here doing the same thing out here trying to show you that it's possible. So don't ever kid yourself that it's not. Don't ever, because there's representation everywhere. You just got to look for it. You got to read. You got to do your own due diligence and care about it just enough.
You definitely got to care about it enough.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to give the audience exact location on how they're going to contact.
Okay. The DMs will probably be the best. DMs will probably be the best, or email. But Instagram, tar_Dior. And that's really my the name for everything. YouTube, Tar Dior, Spotify, Tar Dior, all platforms, Tar Dior.
Evan, you made this?
Yeah. Oh.
Hey, boss.
Born fighters don't know who they are. Every day is just a battle, embracing your scars. I've been seeking for some answers, I'm looking to God. I've been channeling some light, but I'm walking through dark. I'm forgetting how to dream, I'll be up till tomorrow. I got family they in need, so I shoot for the stars. Taught to get it any means, my set is a flaw. Don't forgive me for my sins, I'm humble Allah. Born fighters, I know who they are. Every day is just a battle, embracing your scars. I've been seeking for some answers, I'm looking to God. I've been channeling some light, but I'm walking through dark. I'm forgetting how to dream, I'll be up till tomorrow. I got family they in need, so I shoot for the stars. Taught to get it any means, so my set is a flaw. Lord forgive me for my sins, and alhamdulillah. Had me trapping at the gym, cause I needed it all. Trust me, best believe before the wind, there be days that you fall.
Well, welcome to the Mental Margarita Show. I'm here with Rachel Flanagan, Executive Director of the American Red Cross in Las Vegas, and you cover quite a large area and with a great need. And first we'll go into, because there's lots to talk about. It's September. There's some awareness things we're going to be educating our audience on. But first we want to get to know you a little bit. And before the Red Cross, what were you doing prior and previously that actually led you in the direction that the Red Cross became part of your life path?
Absolutely. So I've been working in the nonprofit sector for more than a decade now. And I originally started out working with people with disabilities. I worked with Alzheimer's disease research and things like that. But I was actually raised by a first responder here in Southern Nevada.
Oh, wow.
And so my mother was a police officer here. So I actually got to see the work of the Red Cross firsthand from the time I was a young child.
Being part of any nonprofit is a lot of work, and it's tireless energy that you have to give all the time, day in, day out. You're always on call. There's always something that needs your attention. And I know that you have quite a competent staff and a team that really helps get the job done. But for people that aren't, and the American Red Cross is a household name. There's probably isn't any home in America that hasn't heard of or been touched in some way by the work of the American Red Cross, from blood donation. I myself personally I was a donor recipient twice in my life. It saved my life. So I'm very grateful for the work the Red Cross does. And just, can you just highlight for us, because a lot of people don't even realize, and I think you're muted. There you are.
I just did it real quick.
Okay. Can you just highlight for us a lot of the areas that the Red Cross helps with that people may not already know about?
Absolutely. So a lot of the things that people know about that we do are like the training services. So those CPR and first aid certifications, teaching children how to swim, all of those various classes. We partner with cities and community centers to ensure that those classes are happening. We also have our life-sustaining blood program. So the American Red Cross is responsible for approximately 40% of the nation's blood supply. And so that happens throughout the entire country. We also have what we call our disaster cycle services team, which is responsible for what we call the disaster cycle. And so what they do is they handle the entire system. So they help people prepare in the event of a disaster. They respond when a disaster happens, and then they help with the recovery process. And that's a significant portion of what the world sees us doing. And then we have a dual arm that is dedicated to service of the armed forces as well as international services. So we are actually tied by executive orders to provide services to our armed forces. So there is a Red Cross actually on the base at the Nellis Air Force Base as we speak. We have an office there. We're there to provide services to the soldiers and their families. But then we also work internationally to restore family links in the event of a disaster. And we do that reunification process. And so we do that on a regular basis.
So it's September, and I understand it's Sickle Cell Disease Awareness Month.
It is.
And so I did a little bit of research on my own to just familiarize myself with the condition, but can you give us like a little summary of what the illness is and how Red Cross helps people affected?
Yes, absolutely. So sickle cell disease is actually one of the most common genetic blood diseases in the United States. So what it is instead of having the nice round oxygenated soft moving blood, the blood actually becomes hard and crescent shaped, and it doesn't allow for oxygen to be taken in, to flow through the blood. And that's vital for moving oxygen throughout your body, because what happens is when you breathe in air, it goes into your lungs, it translates to your blood, circulates through your blood, and then that deoxygenated blood is what you breathe out. It exchanges in your lungs. And so one of the things that happens is that oxygen isn't getting into those blood cells. So it can lead to severe pain, tissue and organ damage. It can lead to a lot of different things, which results in the need for up to 100 blood transfusions a year to try and alleviate that, because we replace it with blood that can oxygenate.
That's for
but
one
that
person.
only lasts so long.
Right, because their blood has a shorter lifespan.
Correct. So it doesn't necessarily last as long. It can lead to anemia. It can lead to clotting issues. It can cause strokes. And so that's why anybody who's having a sickle cell incident has to be able to go get a transfusion. So we have approximately 100,000 people who live in the US with sickle cell disease. 1 in 365 Black or African Americans are born carrying that sickle cell trait.
And it's genetic, so it's carried down. It's hereditary. So
it is.
If your parents or grandparents had it, then there's a chance that you
could carry that. Yes, and there are people who could carry the gene who don't display the symptoms of it, who don't necessarily have the active sickle cell disease, but they carry the traits that they can actually pass on. And so that's something that we actually test for. So 25 years ago, that wasn't something that was tested for at birth. And now when babies are born, they do that test right away to see if that gene is present. So what's valuable is when somebody goes in and donates blood, it's something that the American Red Cross does. If somebody identifies as African American, Black, multicultural, we actually test their blood to see if they carry that trait. That's something that's an automatic trigger when you put that designation in your profile. And what that does is it arms somebody with the information, and will also be able to tell them if their blood is the 1 in 3 that is ideal match for giving blood to people who have sickle cell disease, which is spectacular.
What's the greatest need right now?
So we always ask if people are healthy and able to give blood, we would love it if you could come on out and do that. Just make sure everybody's healthy. But the other thing that we always say is that we will happily accept financial donations. And our biggest thing is making sure that we're honoring that donor's intent. So if you want the money to go to the blood programs, that's where that goes. And each blood drive costs about an average of about $4,800. And that's quite the expense when you think about it, because of the bags and the equipment and the staffing and like all of those things that go into it. So that's part of a cost that we incur on the back end. So any support with that is great. We actually have designated sickle cell drives. So if somebody's able to actually host a blood drive, we would love it. That's something that the Red Cross is very, very open to. We love partnering with our community and bringing our community in.
Starstruck, here's a sprinkle of the stardust. Hold your champagne glass and your cigars up. See the guys with mob ties drive the cars up. Bright lights, most nights they buy the bars up. Candy coated Chevy cars on the highway. It's Frankie baby, it's on and this is my way. Dean Martin at the Sands this Friday. With Sammy Davis, here's a little hint where I stay. The city shines like Liberace's mansion. And you know Elvis had the whole city dancing. Showgirl silhouette steady prancing. Shout out to June, just the Copa Girls anthem. Legal gambling, yeah, that would tempt me. It's Sin City, holy water couldn't cleanse me. And Wayne Newton had the crowd in a frenzy. Live at the Stardust, the seats never empty. Now if you having a good time in Las Vegas, at the count of 3, I want to hear you scream, Viva Las Vegas. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Viva Las Vegas! And Main Street was the official local beer stop. Enough slot machine noise to make your ears pop. The cigarette girls walking souvenir shops. While Red Fox had them laughing till the tears drop. Before Steve got a win at the right time, Sig and Roy had a long circus lifeline. Now the strips got a lot of neon light signs. Would you agree there's not another city like mine? Years later, Mayweather got the city hot. And everybody in your city with a TV watch. Celine Dion got celebrities at every spot. Boys the Man even got Jenny on the block. Now here's a culture shot, the desert's got a hockey scene. Golden Knights, yeah, the #1 hockey team. And we even got the Raiders repping Vegas now. So get the champagne, it's time to bring the waiters out.